But how does that journey start? How do you decide to go and make a book for yourself? Is it something you've always dreamt about? Is it something you just decided because, like, everyone's putting out books today? I might as well put out my book.
Well, okay, so it's a long journey, so I don't know how in depth you want to get with it. So I have always wanted to be a writer since I was a kid, you know? And I guess I kind of, I don't want to say gave up on it. I used to write a lot of stories when I was a kid. And then I went to college, and then I guess I somewhat forgot about it. I did other things.
Oh, I know that story very well.
Yeah, like you do.
You're not the first with that story. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, like you do other things, and like my mind was like elsewhere. And then after college, I was working, and I reread. So the book I just put out is actually an adult version of a book I tried to write when I was a teenager, except for like a lot longer and actually fleshed out. And then so I reread that, like the original thing I wrote when I was a teenager. And then I was like, oh man, like I got that fire in me again. I was like,
I was onto
have to,
something
like,
here.
write that. Yeah. I was just like, I have to write this. So it started with that. And then originally I actually did try to traditionally publish, but that was a lot of just rejection after rejection. And it's like that's just the name of the game. Like it's not a reflection of how good or bad you are. It's like a lot of traditional like publishers want to do what's popular. And it kept coming.
They're going to spend a lot of money, so they need to make sure whatever they're putting out is going to appeal to literally everybody.
Yes, and I agree with you. They're footing the bill, so it's completely understandable. And then so because I would get pretty close to like, and then it would fall through. So that kept happening. So that's when I was just like, okay, I could keep like querying to like agents and publishers, or I could just do it myself. And then I decided to do it myself.
I'll ask an uncomfortable question here, in that I'm curious that given your race, does that play into like what the expectations of the story that you're supposed to be telling are?
Yeah.
And then if you're not like exactly on point with the story that they want you telling, if you tweak it just this much, you could really tug those strings and get people into it.
Yeah, no, that did happen. That did happen. Unfortunately, I can't remember. I think it was the publisher. Like, so one of the because most publishers do want you to like get an agent first before submitting to them, but there are some that you can just like cold call submit to, and it's okay. And there's this whole thing with NaNoWriMo where it's like a little bit. There's like a contest online with that where you can kind of just like do it anyway, like to like the like publishers that we need an agent are a little bit more open. So yeah, I think it was a publisher, but yeah, they reached out to me because like I participated like in some type of Twitter contest, and they I didn't hide what the race that I am on my Twitter photo. And I submitted them, like, I think they either wanted a first chapter or the first 3 chapters, because like different people want different things. And yeah, that was the feedback that I got back, is that they were disappointed that my book was not about race. And but I never advertised it to be about race. Like that was never anything.
I'm just imagining if my wife sent something in, and I know what she would write, because my wife's a huge Tolkien nerd, and she's going to write something very Tolkien inspired. And their first thing is like, but you're a proud Black woman. Where is the proud Black woman story of struggle and strife that's supposed to be? Like, I wanted to write about fairies and dwarves. I like dwarf songs a lot. And that's not what they're going to get.
Yeah, I love fantasy. So I wrote about like people with magical powers, where like race is not something like, there's like nationalism in my story where people have different powers don't like each other for that reason. But I didn't write a story about race. But I never said that I did.
How dare you not fall into our stereotype of what you're supposed to write?
Yeah, no, that's fair. Because like, I mean, it's not fair. I joke
about it.
Yeah,
but it's a matter of, because like I just, from a marketing standpoint, the first thing I'm gonna say is like, because they are trying to deal with mass market, they're going to try and jump on all the trends and whatever they can use to as an angle. And it isn't, unfortunately, the first thing they're going to come up with is like, hey, we got a pretty young black woman. What story can we use to sell this? What are we going to put her on Oprah to get her on the book club? That's the angle that they're going to take.
Yeah, I know. And then when I said that's fair, I was just joining in the sarcasm. No, I agree. Like I think it's incredibly annoying that they do that. I mean, like it's just I think it goes just diving into stereotypes. I can say that I grew up very fine. Like I just had the normal amount of struggle that someone would grow up middle class in suburbia.
So, like I said, to me, I look at it from the marketing perspective, and the thing is that especially when you jump into fantasy, it's already a niche, and then like there's a niche of a niche, and so they know that there's a smaller audience for that particular type of material, and the beauty of that, I think, for me, especially in the modern age, is that you it's much easier for you to go and find your people than it is for them to try and dig down to who those people are, because it's going to be so expensive for them to do that. Where you can go out, you can start taking your personality out, meeting people. Like, do you do any cons or things like that?
So this is the first book that I've put out. I am doing an expo like later this year in like November. So this is so I'm getting my feet wet in all of that and stuff like that. So
I'm sorry, I completely derailed what I told you was even going to be the entire thrust of this first third by like taking.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're getting into the marketing stuff already. Like, when I asked you about your story and how you got to be a writer.
It's fine. It all intersects and stuff like that. But yeah,